Sweet Home, Alabama. This is round number 5 of the 2022 North Carolina 811.com race number 5 of the playoffs. As we welcome you into the 2.66 mile Talladega SuperSpeedways. We have ran nearly 500 laps of racing in the 4 races of the playoffs so far. And as we come to race number 5, we get to decide who moves on to the last round of 5 and what 10 drivers will go home after tonight and be eliminated from their chance at the playoffs. As we welcome you in to the virtual Talladega SuperSpeedway here on iRacing. I am the captain, of course, Chris Scala, and with me, our good buddy Kevin England, who joined us last week. He's back with us again tonight. Kev, we have got ourselves a pretty fun race in store for us. This is one that I've put on my list because not only one, it's Talladega and these kind of tracks are fun, but 2, this series on a super speedway track seems to do some amazing things.
Yeah, this is one of those racetracks where you just lean forward. Hey, how are you doing, everybody? Happy to be back here. You call the Sim500 team, and you're right, Chris. This is an exciting race to watch, the dynamic chases. And, of course, with us eliminating from the round of 20 to the round of 10, everybody is nervous tonight coming in. That's the operative word for this race.
And that's a good word to use tonight. And the main reason we are nervous, and we're nervous for the drivers, is this right here. And that is the point standings up on the screen. Of course, Daniel Falkingham leads by 55 over Tommy Ryan, but then look after second place. 3-point separation, 1, 9, 1, 6, 6, 2, 2. All these separations are less than 10, all the way down to Bobby Wetzel in 18th. Now, technically, Bobby Wetzel can still get in the playoffs here. Eric Arnold, he needs a prayer. But Bobby Wetzel can still get in tonight. So we basically have 16 drivers going for the final 9 spots. What are we going to expect tonight?
Well, I think you're going to see the tale of 2 coins. One flip side is some of these drivers just don't know how to do it. They're on kill from the beginning of the race.
Pretty much.
And they're going to run that way. The other drivers are going to say, you go ahead. But, you know, one of the challenges that I think is out in front of some of these drivers, this track and these drivers tend to get long green flag runs. And if the track splits in half and gets that green flag feel about it, and you're poking around in the back, you could be left in alerts there, Chris. So, you know, it's kind of one of those things where you have to read the tea leaves out the front windshield.
And that's, you got to figure out what you need to do. If it's riding the back, then riding the back. If you want to get up there and lead laps and be up front, that's the way you need to go. Now, where is Talladega SuperSpeedway? Well, it's in Alabama, and if you're alert and know where I-20 is, then, well, basically it's right off I-20. And that's where you come to the west of Atlanta, Georgia, and east of Birmingham, Alabama, and heck, even a stone's throw away from the Birmingham International Raceway, or BIR, as we know it as, Barber Motorsports Park. It is over in that area, a track once known as Alabama International Raceway. That is Talladega SuperSpeedway, and if I zoom out enough, you might actually catch a little bit of VIR on the screen here. Let's see if it's actually more over this way-ish. Or not VIR, but the road course, basically, Barber. It's right over there to the left somewhere. But I'm going to waste my time on that, so let's just go on. And I'm sure Casey, who is one who likes to watch our streams, is going to yell at me, please, no venturing. But anyways, cars are on track for the warm-up, and they'll get 1 minute to do this, their chance to go to the bathroom and things like that. But Kevin, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit here, surprisingly. Is there one driver in mind that you look at on these kind of tracks, especially maybe in the top 20 in points, that you look at and say, hey, maybe this is the guy to watch tonight?
I think the guy to watch tonight is going to be Tyler Dalton. His luck lately has just been awful, and sooner or later that luck's got to turn around. He's been so good at these type of racetracks. He'll run up front. He's got good strategy, and I don't know. I just think it's time for his tide to turn, and I'm going to keep my eye on number 19 tonight.
I like that pick. Tyler's really fast on super speedways. He and Tommy Ryan is. There's a couple guys I have in mind tonight. One, somebody that was kind of talked about a little bit on Twitter earlier today. A couple people brought him up. That would be the 10 car of Richard Beasley, who is a former Super Speedway Series champion. He's going to be one to watch. But the guy I'm going to watch really closely is that 30 car, Brian Macklin. I bring him up because he won at Daytona earlier this season in the Xfinity Series, and he definitely knows how to run these super speedway tracks. But either way, I think the one thing we can predict is that Kevin DeBrown is going to be pushing somebody throughout this afternoon. That's I think the one proven
on the high line
fact. On the high line, yes, if not up against the boards or somewhere up there. How about this for the North Carolina 811.org Cup Series Pole Award to Tommy Ryan, one of those NC811 Call Before You Dig supporters. He is on the pole tonight. He'll start alongside Jimmy Coleman. Tyler Dalton, you mentioned him. He's actually going to start third alongside Kevin DeBrown, Josh Parker, Brian Macklin there, row 3. Row 4, E.J. O'Rourke. He won himself an Xfinity race earlier this season at Daytona. And Randy Yoakum, Nelson Rivera, and Glenn Campbell going to be your top 10.
11th will be Mike Kelly. David Comstock starts on the outside. Row 6, that's 12th starting spot, Doy Woods. Then Scott Stenzel in the 42. He's going to start 14th. 15th tonight is Joey Jatina with Byron Daly, one of the hottest drivers lately, in the 16th starting spot. Mike Montesi, 17th. 18th tonight goes Robert Ferrari. The 3rd, Chad Coleman, starts in 19th. Outside row 10 is 20th starting spot for one of Ron Hollifield.
Andrew Taft will start inside of row number 11 alongside Eric Arnold. Eric, unfortunately, too far back, so his playoffs will likely end this evening. Scott Simley, another sleeper to watch right there, and Ed Burrell in the outside of row number 12. Row 13, Doug Roth and Elliot Henderson. Justin Mons, who feels like he has to win tonight to have a shot with John Fowler. Daniel Falkingham, the winner of the last couple of races, he's got plenty of room now to spare. He should be good to go to the next round alongside Justin Fuller. There's Richard Beasley, 31st position alongside Bentley Glazier. Charles Woods, Doug Sigmund, Brian Wortman, and Jose Funky Cole Medina will start there in the 36th and final position here this evening, where they will go 88 laps, 100 shy of the actual NASCAR distance. That is, if I do the math really quickly here, somewhere just shy of 250 miles on this 2.66 mile track. And if you are joining us for the first time tonight, I will argue with anybody that this could be the best super speedway series when it comes to racing on a super speedway you will watch. And I definitely trust that now after the last 2 races I've watched have been amazing shows from this Sim500 crew. So I expect nothing but excitement here for these 88 laps. So you got your seatbelt on there, Kev?
Yep. Buckled in, ready to go. I pulled them tight.
I don't have seatbelts on mine. But anyways, yeah, I don't know how that's going to go. Anyways,
No
Tommy Ryan.
guardrails?
Yeah, right. No guardrails. We don't do that around here. Old school racing, boys. Old school. Got the crew chief in the back seat and everything. As the pole award, as I mentioned, goes to Tommy Ryan. No, it's below 811 before you dig. Tommy Ryan wins the pole award, and here we come to the green flag. Who goes to the round of 10? We find out in 88 laps at Talladega.
Yeah, pretty typical start, 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 for the first couple rows as they head off into turn 1, come up through the gears. This car provides a difference when you're coming through. You generally run down the backstretch in 4th gear, and then finally somewhere here about 3/4 mark to entry to turn 4 or turn 3, you slip it into 5th. Everybody's behaved so far as they go down the backstretch.
Yeah, it looked like there was a little checkup up there at the back of the field at the start there. I noticed a couple cars jumping to the top side there. Didn't see who that was back there, but you see Jimmy Coleman going to take Kevin DeBrown, the pusher. If you see somebody go to the lead today and you see that rainbow-colored car behind him, do not be surprised, because that man can push. And here comes O'Rourke to the bottom as they come across the line to take lap 1. Our cameras tonight presented by TrackCams22.com. You can check them out online on Facebook. They're in the iRacing forums, and they are the closest thing to real-life cameras you will see. TrackCams22.com is their website. You can check them out. And a reminder, as always, left side of the screen on the ticker, the numbers in green, which is the 811 green. Of course, those guys are in the playoffs. As you see Joey Jatina dive it down to Birmingham, basically, to go to the back of the field. Now, a couple things, Kevin, I do want to point out, because I had the fortunate of winning the iRacing Daytona 500 this year in this car. This car is different than any other car on iRacing on a super speedway. Normally, at about 1.5 seconds, you can catch a draft of anybody in this sim. This car alone, you actually cut that in half. You have to be about 7 to 8 tenths of a second, and you have to be directly behind the car to get the air, or else you will lose speed like that.
Yeah, no doubt. They talk about the bubble, and they also talk about how much these cars move around. If you think it's just a Sunday drive out there, that is not the case.
No.
I liken it to the way the kite floats in the wind. It just bobbles left, it bobbles right, it bobbles. And every once in a while, when someone pulls up to you, it'll pull your car across the racetrack. And boy, as we look at them now go 3 wide with guys up in the high line, that gets really tedious.
This is already getting nuts. We saw Kevin Brown make the move on Coleman, and then Mike Kelly said, "Hey, Ma, watch this." Drops it to the bottom, and I think the Brown led that lap barely over the 2. And then I see, who is that? The 38 of Chad Coleman actually thought 4 wide there for a second, but we are 3 rows deep, all the way back to about the 20th position right now. Here go a couple cars like, "I'm out." See ya.
I'm out. Had enough of that. Yeah, you're going to live to fight another day. One of the things drivers have from the moment they pull out of pit road, they're probably clutching the car, they're turning the motor off, trying to make sure that they're conserving fuel. And if you're out front, you're not doing that. But I'm guessing that some of these drivers in here have fuel conservation on the mind. You know, we're always looking for the big one. We always think we're going to get a bunch of crashes. But as I said on the outset, sometimes these things run green for a long time, and fuel strategy has to come into play.
Which is a very fair point. I think it's about 37 to 40 laps on fuel. 88, divide that by 2, you get 44. So I think unless you do get a yellow in this race, you are looking at a 2-stop race. I don't think you can stretch it. I just don't see it being possible with the way the fuel and that kind of thing, the consumption and the miles per gallon. I just doubt that you're going to make it on a 1-stop race here unless you do some kind of miraculous thing. As we see cars moving around, John Fowler already in the 48. But how about that? John Fowler started 28th in this race, and he is up to 4th in 4 laps.
Yeah, you could do it. There's times when you just pull up to the high side and there's a gap, and all of a sudden you feel like Superman. The car just rolls. But, you know, then you get up towards the front, you get behind the car in front of you, and unless you stay in that bubble, that little tiny space right behind the bumper of the car in front of you, you really can't push your way forward. A lot of drivers like this racetrack over Daytona because you have more lanes to choose from when you get a run, and Fowler is just getting his bumper beat off. Man, almost turned him sideways there in the middle of the straightaway.
And you got to be careful with that. As you rode with Eric Arnold a second ago, now Doug Roth in the 43 Petty blue car as he rides right there behind Eric. I mean, this is the part where you just got to be patient. I mean, you're just trying to push a line, get some momentum. You see Justin Fuller there in the 51 car down on the bottom. Josh Parker leads that top side right now, as that seems to kind of be the way right now. It's right up there against the boards, which is something I kind of learned myself when I was running. When this car first come out, of course, I was trying all types of things, and one of the rare things I learned was, you know, I got everybody single file up there against the wall, and I said, well, let me try something here. So I led a pack for a couple laps up top, and I'm like, wait, this works. And that's what you're kind of seeing here is if you can keep cars single file, especially up towards the top, it makes it very hard to make a pass unless you have a group.
Yeah, they've claimed that that's homage to the Dale Earnhardt Jr. influence on the sim. I don't know how much credence. It's really about who gets in line and how good they are. Pushers, my general sense is if the drivers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are tighter to you, behind you, than the line on the other side, you're going to go faster.
Right, and that's what makes sense because you're tighter on, and obviously the air is moving around your cars, and And that O'Rourke made an aggressive move to the bottom there. Brown went to block, but it was obviously too late. Great move by Kevin, obviously, to stay in his lane, and that's great judgment, because that's something that you get into an NIS race or another league that guys make a move like that, they might just go ahead and go down there and make the block, and all of a sudden you've got 15 cars wadded up.
Yeah, we were talking last week about who would be the equivalent of Ross Chastain, and I had mentioned EJ O'Rourke, and he just put it on full display there.
Well, tonight, I guess, for Chastain, it wouldn't. I don't think Chastain would be the guy tonight. You know what? A former driver of the one car might be the guys to say tonight. Instead of saying Chastain, we might say, who's the Jamie McMurray tonight? Yeah. McMurray was one of the. I mean, they say he's one of the nicest guys in the garage, but when he went out there on track, that dude was a bulldog. As you see, the Brown on the bottom with help from David Comstock getting pushed.
One of the things I noticed is Josh Parker up front. You remember, just about every week he's enjoyed starting from the back, didn't take time qualifying. It's kind of unusual to see him in the waning laps or in the opening laps running up front, but right now he's slipping back and a couple drivers slipping down underneath him. We just talked about how lines get organized. Bottom line, following Kevin DeBrown is on the march right now. As DeBrown comes across, he's going to be scored the 4th different leader of this race.
Already 4 different leaders. I can only imagine the lead changes that have happened not at the start-finish line. If lead changes were counted at the just any part of the track, we'd have races in real life that were like 150 lead changes at least.
Yeah.
And that's just amazing there. As you see, I think that's Fuller. It's going to go to the back and aboard output. There, you see, look here, the front 4 starting to pull away a little bit there with Ferrari going to be a 5th car, but needless to say, those cars are pretty much going to get sucked right back in. You see that Kohler number 6 of Montesi up top. The 42 is Scott Stenzel. There's in the old sucker hole, as they like to call it.
Oh, I just saw EJ O'Rourke way swide down below the yellow line, captured the car on the apron, brought it back up, but he was completely sideways out of turn 4.
And you wonder if these guys are maybe just getting into a rhythm now. They've done what they've got to do, and maybe now they're like, all right, we need to settle down after 10 laps here and let this race kind of come to us, maybe. As you see, as we run aboard Stenzel, I mean, everybody, one car is outside lane. Otherwise, everybody's right down on the white line right now, or yellow.
I think about lap 12 is where the dynamics of the race come in. You're going to start looking for teammates. We know that there's a couple groups in here. The Sim500 Mafia team name will try to find their friends, and this is about the time frame where they all start chitty-chatting to each other in private channels to say, let's get organized, let's get together. They even this early start talking about strategy. When are you going to pit? How are you doing on your fuel?
Well, right now I'm looking at this outside lane get formed up a little bit. Chad Coleman was starting to try to tandem push the 06, and then Eric Arnold, who I think you could easily say he is going to be the Jamie McMurray in this race. I think Arnold, knowing that he is pretty much, other than getting loose there off of 2, he is, got nothing to lose tonight. He's got everything to gain. He's unfortunately going to be eliminated from the playoffs more than likely, unless something just weird happens. He's likely eliminated, so he has nothing to lose tonight. So I could see him making all types of spicy moves, if you will, because I go back to Daytona earlier this season. Him and Mustian were in the race, and them two, they were stuck to the top side the whole entire race, making moves that had me like, the whole entire time, but it was working.
One dynamic we got to talk about here. Look how spread out this field is.
Yeah.
This is not what I would have anticipated. Typically, you find one big pack, you find a second pack just kind of hovering behind them, trying to miss the melee. Also got to say, you got 4 cars out in the back, way off the pace. You got Medina, Stigman, Jatina, and Workman running 17 seconds off this group. Sooner or later, this lead pack is going to drift up to them. Those guys are looking for a caution.
You know what, though? I there's a part of me that disagrees here, and this is just from my experience of running this car. If let me jump back there, as a matter of fact, here with Medina and those guys. You said they're way back here. I think these guys are actually okay as long as, and let's go to the rear cam here, these guys need to stay in line.
Yeah.
And Sigmund needs to be pushing and getting tight to Medina down the straightaways. because those 4 cars can almost run as fast as the leaders if they stay tight in line. They cannot move around. They can't go double file. They can't space out from each other. They got to stay right in line with each other. If they can do that, they'll stay okay right there where they are. I mean, as a matter this time by, they just ran actually 2 seconds slower, but we'll see how this lap goes for the group here. They're about 14 seconds back. You see their time is not really dropping when it comes to their distance back. So let's see how that works out. That's the only reason why I disagree with you. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, if they don't work together, then they're gonna go a lap down really quickly.
It takes a long time to get around this racetrack. They're not in massive jeopardy, but the fact that they only have 4 cars, and to your point, they're not running physically nose to tail. But, you know, I'm not going to call their strategy bad. I've done that quite a few times.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I also see that this top group has finally got organized and come back together. Now they're all running 2 by 2 by 2. Remember, just a moment ago, they were spread out like an accordion. Oh, look at that number 10 right there in the middle of the mix.
Oh, Mons, hold on. Do not get on the left rear. Oh, my gosh. What's his name there? E.J. O'Rourke had Mons about ready to go to the infield.
Yeah. I just saw Tyler Dalton pull the parachute. Not sure what's up with the 19.
Well, he just saw what happened there.
He's going to pit road.
Going to pit road.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he got dinged in that or. Yeah, he unfortunately, going back and just looking at what happened, he got funked.
Oh, no.
A body slap there. And unfortunately, he's got some damage. Maybe broke a tie rod. Right front.
Yeah, right front's broke. You can see it.
Oh, man.
Oh, my gosh. Tough break for the 19. Let's see if I can find. It's going to take me a minute here to. As we get
lap 15, Doug Roth, number 43, and Eric Arnold involved in that incident. With Tyler, he can't buy himself a break lately. I thought tonight was the night he was going to shake the monkey off. That is not going to be the case.
All right, let's see if we can get it right here. So look for. Oh, right there, Tyler gets knocked down. Okay, so there's the contact. Let's back it up a little bit. It's all going to start, like I said, the 41 has the 79 all jacked up, if you will, here. Watch. One thing you do not want to do is get to the left rear going into a corner. He's getting the push, getting the push, getting the push. He tries to make a move right here, and O'Rourke sits right on the left rear, totally unintentional. Oh, right there. Yeah, Eric Arnold gets turned into, yep, that's exactly what happened. Wow.
I'd imagine that there's a lot of commentary and learning from that. All the drivers have been waving off any pushes in the corners. This car is perilous if you get shoved into the corner. Maybe the last lap it's okay, but most drivers will physically be yelling over the radio, "Stop pushing me in the corners."
What was that word? Perilous?
Perilous.
Man, let me get my thesaurus on that one.
Fraught with peril.
No, but I don't think that's just the gen or the next gen. I keep wanting to call it a Gen 7 car. The next gen car.
Yeah.
This gen, whatever you want to call it now. But with any car on iRacing, like when I'm on a super speedway, and I actually run in a super speedway series on how Stenzel just got loose with O'Rourke pushing. I run in a super speedway series on Saturday night. And one thing I've trained myself to do is when I'm in a corner, I'm not touching you. I'll get close to you. But, or I'll get a run on you coming out of the corner and be pushing you as long as I can. But unless it's like the final lap and I got to do everything I can to help you, you will not see me on the bumper pushing you in the corner. Because it's just, look at O'Rourke and Stenzel. They are playing with fire as they go to the lead. Yeah, there's a big reward right here for the 42 going to the lead. But there's the risk of getting turned.
Yeah, most drivers will coast about the 3/4 mark and into the corner. They get that long pull down the straightaway, running half throttle. They run up on the car in front of them. And if they're trying to be in fuel conservation mode, they just kind of roll in the corner a little bit off that back bumper. That's the observation that I see. But We've got to talk about this developing story. Tyler Dalton came in here 10th in points, currently running 3 laps down. He could come back out, get his
Oh, 4
damage
wide.
finished.
Sorry, Kev, 4 wide, and there goes
Oh,
Roth
there
around.
they go.
Doug Roth goes around into the 22, the 54, Jimmy Coleman. That's a playoff driver involved.
Yeah, just clean the 54 out. That's so frustrating for him.
Byron Daly gets involved in this. I kind of saw this shaping up. It's just the way they came off the front straightaway, or off the tri-oval, I should say. I saw Justin Mons have to make a pretty big move. And in the end, contact, and the first caution comes out at lap 19. And yes, there are playoff implications. I don't know what implications mean, but it works.
It's a good word.
It's a Scallonism. All right. Boy
Good
Woods
word,
involved
Cotton.
also, too. So, unfortunately, Davey Allison's car will not go to victory lane in the home race.
Oh, man.
Let's see what happens here. It all starts. All right, so watch. Actually, I mistake Mons for Daly. So, Daly gets stuck in a bad spot here. And he's going to go top and then going to go to the bottom to try to get the run with Mons here. And you're going to see Kevin DeBrown, I think, is going to just come up and misjudge the corner, or maybe it's Mons. Either way, but they're going to go 4 wide here because Byron lost all that momentum. Mons goes middle here.
Meat and a sandwich?
Yeah, pretty much. The ham and cheese came together in that sandwich. And they
Give me a little mayo on that.
Pretty much. And those two go spinning, and unfortunately, and I know in logic, what comes up must come down, but in racing, what goes down usually comes back up. And you see Daly locks her down, but the other car involved of Doug Roth, unfortunately, goes back up the track and nails Doy Woods. Jimmy Coleman gets in there, 22. Rivera, his left front's locked up, but just a big wreck here. Let's go to pit stops. We'll come back and get some visuals of that wreck. The personal comfort boys up there in the front right now. As they bring into pit road here, I would guess you're going to see fuel only here.
Yeah, just saw Eric Arnold miss his pit stall, had to back up a little bit, seeing right side tires go on the number 31. Let's see if they're going to do 4 this time around. They are changing 4 tires on that number 31. Tire wear,
Look at that.
no
Actually,
factor at this racetrack.
It's not, but I mean, it's always a safe move when you're towards the middle or back, go ahead and throw 4 tires on. But if you're Brian Macklin, you're going probably 2 tires, a 12.1 second stop, and Macklin wins the race off pit road. Stenzel, Mons, Kelly, O'Rourke, and Glenn Campbell. As we go back and take a look at what took place here in the tri-oval, let's go on board with the this is where I get to have fun, and usually I just pick a car. I'm going to pick Mike Kelly. I see him. I see the PPG colors sitting back there in the 2. Where is Mike Kelly on here? There he is. Let's go on board with Kelly and enjoy the ride. There's
All
the
looks
move
good
by-
right here.
It did, and then they're 4. And then they're wrecking right below them.
And that's really all it takes. It was just the slightest of a brush, but when you're going through that corner and then coming off, the cars are all floating up out of the tri-oval, and it just takes a moment and a little bit of a nick and a turnover. Good on Byron Daly for locking it down. Textbook way to try and prevent himself from further damage.
This one might hurt a little bit. Jimmy Coleman, who's still on pit road right now, one of 3 now playoff drivers on pit road. Nowhere to
You
go.
can see there's just no way to get out of that one. You think, well, he should just turn left or put on the brakes? You can
Easier said
guess
than done.
he's locked down, and there is no left turn going that fast.
No, especially on the brakes. I mean, think about it when you're driving a road course car and you're going to try to turn while the brakes are pushed. Very hard to do. So, hey, real quick, let's step away and let's get a word from our partners at the 811.org service.
If recent storms have caused damage to your property, contact 811 before you begin your cleanup. Buried utilities around uprooted trees can make a bad situation worse if those lines are not located before digging. Electric, natural gas, and internet lines are everywhere. And knowing where they are is the safest way to start any digging project. Call North Carolina 811 by dialing 811 or by using single address ticket on NC811.org or the NC811 app.
All right, back we are at the Virtual Talladega SuperSpeedway, 1 to green this time by after a 5-car wreck that has, as of right now, Eric Arnold, Jimmy Coleman, Doug Roth, Nelson Rivera, Doy Woods off the track, and then Tyler Dalton still off after the little contact that happened a couple laps before that. So obviously some strategy is coming to play here now. I can safely say it is a one-stop strategy now as we get into this race because we have 65 laps to go. We'll go green, so you're only going to need one stop now to get to the finish. So that kind of eases the pressure off these guys as they work their way down the back straightaway. Let's flash the points back up here on the screen. A big shout out to Trey Edson. This is something I literally told Joey earlier. I said, I need this picture now because it was one of those when I saw it, I'm like, okay, this is better than going and doing a cutting and pasting of Dan Lisa like I usually do, or Sim Racer Hub, whatever it's called now. So please do excuse the little bit of distortion on it. I've noticed this is literally, I put it up for the first time when I showed it on the screen. But you look at Tyler Dalton, 85 points out right now. He is going to need to get that damage fixed and get out as much as he can, because when you look at it right now, you see Jimmy Coleman, 12th position right now. He is more than likely out, depending on what happens here the rest of this race. So unfortunate break for him, for Coleman, who just got swept up in that wreck. But that's part of what Talladega can present to you in this race. It's a wild card. Anybody can win it. As long as you're on the lead lap, anything can happen at this track. So as you see now, Brian Macklin, who used some strategy, he will start P1 here for this restart. Scott Stenzel second. Justin Mons, who actually got some contact in that wreck, he will start third. Mike Kelly and E.J. O'Rourke going to be your top 5 as we come back to the green flag here at the Virtual Talladega SuperSpeedway. And just to update a couple of the 811 cars in the field right now, Tommy Ryan runs back in the 11th position. There he is right there in the 99 car. Of course, you got Randy Yoakum. He is in the 16th position. I might have to... I've held myself back from sharing this story, but there's a super speedway story I have about Randy Yoakum that I'm sure if he ever hears me share, it might not be pretty. As Dalton getting on coming off pit road right now. So Tyler Dalton, you just saw him in front of the field there. He's going to get back on track. He's 8 laps down. So he's just going to try to survive the rest of this race. Let's see who else. Joey Jatina right now. There he is in the 811 car, running back in the 24th position. These guys are already getting 3 wide. So obviously plenty of time and plenty of things for these 811 cars to get out there and potentially go to victory lane. As you see E.J. O'Rourke going to take the lead as we work our way back to the tri-oval and to the start-finish line as Dalton lets them take the top side, and back another lap he goes. As Chad Coleman works the top side, here he comes with Mons pushing, Brian Macklin in that 30 car, and then there's the 2 of Mike Kelly. Coleman shuts the door on O'Rourke, and look at Mons get that big run now.
I'm surprised after the incident that these guys are pushing as hard as they could. I know they possibly want to lead a lap. It's difficult to see the 38 of Coleman and Rich Beasley hooked up, and Coleman kind of rides down the back with his buddy Rich for a period of time. But right now here, it looks like O'Rourke trying to push him to the start-finish line so he can pick up and lead this lap here, lap number 25.
I think at this point, it's one of those where people try to get what they can get right now, especially in a playoff race, as O'Rourke wants that lead back. And the one person who I noticed, if you look at the point standings, he was sitting back in the 18th position, I believe it was, getting into this race, was Kevin DeBrown. He's 118 points back. So what's the one thing he can do? Win this race. So where's Kevin DeBrown been the whole entire race? Right up there in the top 6, right, and he's continued to make aggressive moves as here comes Falkingham finally. I say that like he's used to being up front.
You know, we were talking about tires not making a difference. They get 4 sets, and generally you don't see a lot of tire wear. But if you have a Scotia tire wear, it does change the way the car turns.
Absolutely. It kind of, don't want to say limits you, but it's the best word I can think of at the moment when it comes to making a move like you saw Byron Daly make a couple of minutes ago when he went from top to bottom, holding an elevator move as he drops to the bottom right now.
It just helps the car cut, and it gives you more confidence. It's not that you can't do it, but you feel a lot better when you have fresh tires.
Because you got to remember, these back ends are very aero, as you see the 2 car kind of blinking out a little bit there, but they can play a role. I mean, if you turn the wheel too much, it will spin out on you. As Tommy Ryan gets the push from Falkingham to the lead. Look at that 44. The Rhinestone Cowboy, Glenn Campbell himself up there up top.
Yeah, Glenn's right there on the back bumper of Daniel Falkingham. I don't know that Daniel has the best track record in these races, but we have to remember he's got nothing to lose tonight. He's in for the next round. He could just run and try and win this thing. He's the only person here with that comfort level.
Yeah, it's one of those things where Daniel's track record on a super speedway, I go back to Pedro Mojica. I bring up the FEG Xfinity series. Pedro, who won the championship in that series, he literally had 5 races, I think it was, outside the top 12, or top 10, I should say. One was New Hampshire, and that was because of a wall glitch on the final lap walked him and kept him from a top 10. The other 4 races were the super speedways. Yeah. He finished 30th or worse in all 4. Daniel Falkingham has the same exact thing going for him in this Cup Series, and like, if you don't believe me, I'm going to literally read you Daniel's stats here in just a second of his super speedways so far this season here in Sim500. Just give me a second here as I go into the Sim Racer Hub. By the way, great website for those who are have a league or something and you're listening. I would check that out. It's a great site for you to be able to keep like all your stats and things like that for your league, especially if you're a long setting league like this one here. And there's on board with Comstock in the 13 car. So as I look at the schedule here, of course, Daytona back in February, they ran the Daytona 500K. Daniel Falkingham finished, he actually finished 3rd in that race, so he had a good run. And then you go to the Talladega race in April. He finishes 36th. Then you go to Daytona again, and I think he had terrible luck in that race. And Justin Fuller won that night. He finished 40th. So outside the top 5 at the 500K, he's finished 30th or worse. As Byron Daly's starting to bring that top side to life.
Yeah, you mess with the bull, you get the horns, and a lot of times he's up there messing with the bull. He's always up in there in the mix in some of these races. And, you know, for whatever reason, it's not about how fast you are and your lap times and all that other thing. It's just a matter of how you defend. And if there's one thing that Daniel needs to clean up in his future, it's how to run these races. It's not that he's not fast, but he's always in the hornet's nest. And well, that'll get you stung.
Pretty much. And then you see Tommy Ryan going to get stuck right there. Here comes the 2 of Mike Kelly, the 31 of Eric Arnold down there in the bottom. That is going to absolutely kill the momentum of that bottom side. You see the top side just train along. When you get a line that's as organized as this top side starting to get, Elliott Henderson there, Brian Macklin. You know, this side is going to dominate now. And you almost wonder if people are going to try to get in line. No, they're not. As Randy Oakham drops to the bottom. I kind of teased the story about Randy Oakham, and God forbid he ever listens to this broadcast because he might come after me because he might not remember this, actually, but him and I raced in a league on Friday nights called Blown Piston, BPRL, and there was a race at Daytona. He was leading, and a wreck happened, and he got involved on the final lap, or like 2 laps to go or something like that. So I end up taking the lead from the wreck happening. And he was involved in the wreck, got spun around, and it actually went to put him back in the lead after he was like all the way back to like 15th position. The admins And yes, I might have had something to do with it when I was kind of complaining and saying my piece, like, wait, I'm the leader here. I'm the leader now. Put him back and told him, yeah, you finish here because that's where you got straight again from the wreck and stuff. And I remember him going on a tirade that night.
Oh, yeah.
So, needless to say, I don't know if he remembers that story, but I figured a super speedway race would be a good day to bring it back out.
Yeah, I'm not sure his nationality, but I've heard him rant.
Are you saying he might be
Could make a
bilingual?
great debater.
Yeah, a little bit of
He's got
French
a
in his
little
language.
fire in the belly there when it comes to that.
Pardon the French.
I saw Scott Stenzel just a lap ago on the backstretch, had a little too much of that medicine, pulled out, let everybody go by. He's dropped back to somewhere around the 20th, 22nd position or something. But, you know, looking at the dynamic, we talked about Joey Jattina riding in the back. Not anymore. He's worked his way into this mix, and, you know, he's decided he's going to play. I'm not sure if he's up there to see if he can lead a lap or do something way up against the wall, currently in 13th right now.
I wonder if he kind of felt that when that deal happened with him and Wortman and Medina when they lost the draft, you wonder if that maybe spooked him and saw like how good of a run they were having under Green, and maybe he's like, I need to be up here in this just in case. You know, that, and also, I mean, he could be looking to try to gain as much points as possible in this situation as we ride with Joey. And you see him riding behind Montesi there, and you see cars just kind of going back and forth, trying to figure out what lane they want to go in, trying to determine who that car is behind them. It looks like
I haven't talked about Montesi there. He's having a quiet ride, just running up there, minding his P's and Q's.
Mike's that guy. And he's got the perfect paint scheme and the perfect driver paint scheme, I guess, so to say, as Brad Keselowski could easily be argued as one of the best super speedway racers in all of NASCAR. And here he is in that 6 car making moves, and here they go up the middle. Look at this run up the middle. Like I said, you get in there and you get the momentum. I mean, you got to take it. I think Dale Jr. kind of mentioned it. If you get a run in these cars, you have to take it. You don't stop. You don't cut the momentum off, because if you do, one, you might find yourself backwards, but two, you might find yourself either in the back or out of the draft before you know it, because of just the momentum that's in these cars. Randy Oakham going up the middle, and look who's pushing, Kevin DeBrown. As they go up the middle, Tommy Ryan up to the lead. As we are coming up on the 100-mile mark of this race.
You see how much the cars move around, left, right. It's not really on purpose, although sometimes they're picking and choosing their lanes. Again, I think a lot of what's going on right now is the chess match, right? Trying to find who you want to work with to push you up in the lane, how you can get the runs. It's just one of those things where you're making decisions every lap. You're never idle on this racetrack.
Well, and another thing that I think is very underrated, and I didn't really think about this until, again, that Super Speedway League I'm in on Saturday nights. I couldn't help but think about when it was brought up to me that you probably have a lot of drivers in this race tonight running 6-to-1 steering ratios. That is the bottom of the barrel, like the quickest ratio outside of a dirt car that you can run on iRacing. So when I think of the rack and pinion, I think that's like 0.13 or 0.19 or something like that in the rack and pinion steering. So some of these guys are literally, if you turn the wheel a scooch, it's your car moves to the other way, and they do that to either one, make a move like you're seeing O'Rourke make right now top side, and two, if you do get tagged, you can really quickly save the car potentially from any kind of havoc. I mean, because sometimes you just got to make an abrupt move. Look at Comstock. Side draft off the 41, drops down and leads that lap.
How about Comstock? We haven't talked about him at all tonight, coming up to the top for the first kind of foray in it. But you see the 49 and the 41 pushing. There are certain combinations, we won't call names, where people get nervous and they see different things and they bail out. They look across at who's next to them and they decide that's not to their liking. There's a lot of that goes on in this race too, where they just forecast what's going to happen.
Curious minds would like to know.
You want me to tell? Kiss and tell
Let
here?
me ask this question: are you on the list?
Oh yeah, I was joking with you. I'm the Cody Ware.
Nice. Hey, look up
You know,
top here. Here comes
Brett
Joey.
Griffin would be making fun of me if
Get those weird cars off the track.
I'm not terrible on super speedways though. I'm a pretty good pusher. Ask Joey Jattina. I pushed him to a second or third some point this season before somebody wrecked me at the finish. But I'll just say we talked about the aggression level of EJ O'Rourke. Everybody knows that at any given point, one of his moves, if the driver around him, let's say driver X, is unaware of his aggression level, Fuller, another driver, they're there to win and they're going to see a hole, they're going to take it. And if the driver around them, not so much their acumen, but the driver around them is not anticipating that, it's a recipe for trouble.
Absolutely. You got to be careful of that. As we're 4 laps from the halfway point, lap number 40 in the books looks like after a small break, if you will, the groups are back together again. You see O'Rourke on the bottom, Tommy Ryan middle, top side, Justin Mons in that 49 car. We do have a lap car I saw that they were coming up on here. I didn't exactly see who it was, but there is somebody up ahead, so those guys are going to have to figure out really quickly what to do. Now, how about this? We don't usually get to do this. Usually I like to do it on restarts, but it is a super speedway and means all the cars are together. So we're going to step away. We're going to quiet our mics, and we're going to let you turn it up here on the Captain Esports Network here at lap number 40. And that's Medina, by the way, they're coming up on. Did I not say that there's something about this league and its super speedway racing that is different than other leagues? These guys are running 2 and 3 wide. They're giving each other plenty of room out here, and they are putting on a wild show. And hello to Evacuatives Rain. Appreciate you watching. Hello. Have a nice day to you too. Appreciate you watching. O'Rourke made a move to the apron there, and he hasn't been able to get back up the track. Nobody's giving him the room, which in a way it's kind of his responsibility to get up there. Great job by EJ to be patient there. Potentially. I will never say no. I mean, if you want to reach out, talk, feel free to. I'm always looking for anything that will improve the broadcast. But, of course, the captain tonight, Chris Scala, with my good old buddy, Kevin England, who is with me tonight. And Kevin's getting himself something to drink like I did. And we're ready and rock and roll for this last half of the race as Justin Fuller now getting that push from the 99 top side. Macklin back there about 6 cars deep. You got Daly in the inside with Falkingham. How about Randy Yoakum there in the 8 car? He must have heard the story and it irritated him and he went to the front. Man, let me turn your mic on there. I kept turned off. Yeah, I wanted to make sure we were
good to go.
Yeah. Refresh.
Mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore. That's what you said. He wants to charge to the front and tell these boys how it's going to be.
That daggum Scala guy in his story. That was like 10 years. No, it wasn't. It was actually like 2 years.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Last week.
Yeah, pretty much. Feels like it. Pretty much feels like it.
I just want to do a Beasley check. Where's Richard Beasley
Richard
right
Beasley
now?
check.
Because,
This is a great idea.
Mr. Super Speedway is just kind of hanging back there.
Yep, he won himself.
Minding his P's and Q's.
Yep, that's what he does. Riding 25th. He, as I mentioned, won the, I think it was the 2021. I don't know if it was a specific year, but I know he won the Super Speedway Series. I know Mojica won it the first year we covered it here on the Captain Esports Network, but before that it was Beasley. But yeah, it's a good opportunity. Let's take a look at the North Carolina 811 call before you dig. Order where everybody runs, kind of like a through the field type of thing here, as they just shuffled out Randy Yoakum there with a little shimmy. Yoakum there in the 3rd position. He's got, of course, the Virginia 811 colors there on that 8 car, looking pretty solid himself. And now he's getting shuffled out. You see Tommy Ryan just went around him. That's another one of those 811 colors in the 99, doing a great job this evening. Joey Jattina, you see him sneaking up in the picture, that 6 car, that green and white one. At 14, that's an all 811 car. He's Joey right now 6th place according to the timing and scoring. We'll look through a little bit more through the field. Mike Kelly's got an associate sponsorship of the 811. He's running there in the 2, in the 15th position right now. Cars continue to scatter. This might be the hardest through the field I get to do with this because everybody shuffles. It's like you got to find a guy and then you click on him and he's in another position, so you miss him. It's kind of like trying to catch somebody wrecking sometimes. Jimmy Coleman, he is back on track. He's in the pack there in the 54 car. Jimmy, unfortunately, is a lap down right now in the 54, running in the 31st position. Tyler Dalton back on track. He is in that 811 white car there up top. And he runs in the 33rd position right now. There are 27 cars on the lead lap as of right now. In this race, we've had, I don't have numbers, so we had a lot of lead changes. Oh, one car got pushed up into the wall there. Mons made a move. And I think it was Coleman, Jimmy there, that got pushed up into the wall, maybe? Everybody was okay,
be,
it looks like. But it looked like Mons
Yeah,
went to
Jimmy's
make a
just
move.
waiting for that caution to come. You know, when you're in that first car 1 lap down and it just drives you nuts. We've had, I want to guess, over 20 leaders so far. Coleman, Kelly, Parker, DeBrown, Daly, Macklin, O'Rourke, Falkingham, Fuller, Comstock, Arnold, and others have led here tonight. There has been quite a rotation out front. There's a couple drivers still lurking out in the back that have not made their way up into the mess. But as the laps
boy.
tick down,
Oh,
their time
boy.
runs out, they're going to come play in the playground here.
Sorry, Kev. I was watching them go by Doug Roth, and they were making
Yeah.
moves like they were. It looked like Doug Roth was like a pylon or a broken down vehicle on the side of a highway. The way people were just shifting to the left.
Yeah, teamwork at play there. You see the 41 and the 42, the personal comfort cars tucked in nose to tail. One of the things we don't talk much about, Chris said, it doesn't become that much of a factor as cars overheating here.
Yeah.
You generally want to pull the car out of line every once in a while, let it breathe a little air so it doesn't overheat. Not that hard to do here at this wide racetrack here at Talladega.
Yeah, one thing that people do get confused about is, yes, there's no tape allowed on the nose anymore. That is because basically it's set up different now. It's not like air's going straight to the engine. They have air going to different places and that kind of thing. That does not mean, though, by pushing you cannot overheat the engine. So it's very tricky with that right now, with the way these next-gen cars are all built and set up. So, yeah, you could push. One, you got to remember these cars do not line up, but two, they will overheat if you're not careful with them. But Daly up there in the front with Falkingham pushing, Comstock into Brown and Fuller and Coleman, and Beasley's up into the top 10 now, so Beasley's starting to get up there a little bit. It's gotten past halfway. We do got the one pit stop coming. We pitted at lap 21. 21, 41, that equals, or 21 and 40 is 60. We're at lap 51 right now. So I think people are starting to get set up for that final pit stop, and I would think in the next 5 laps or so, we will see others come to pit road here.
Don't you love having to do math on the fly with this type of thing?
Well, the thing about me is I'm from Florida, so my math is about as,
yeah,
you know, it's not good. I say that jokingly, obviously, but being somebody who went to school in Florida, it's like I tend to throw Floridians under the bus, but that's because I am one of them. So,
you noticed everybody got single file. I wonder if pit stops are looming and everybody wants to kind of get out of that double file so that different groups can go in and hit pit road together and not cause chaos. Self-organized, if you know what I mean.
Oh, absolutely. And they're going to have to be careful because we ride with Kevin DeBrown here. For you on Twitch there, the creatives guy. Let's if you want to send a message, I'm trying to think of a way. If you want to read, are you a part of the league or anything like that, or do I know you from somewhere, or just kind of curious? Sorry, there's a gentleman who apparently does graphics and stuff watching from Twitch, and I'm always available to help people out, especially when they're a brand person or like to do graphics and things. I'm always open to helping people out. I'm not going to say no, unless you're some kind of spam person. Justin Fuller said, I'm full of this and I'm out. As up top, Daly. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, sometimes these guys pull out so they can get down to the bottom line.
Coleman.
I'm going to tell you, it just looks so chaotic and nervous. When you're racing and you're watching what's going on, you're just looking for two cars coming together out front. One thing we haven't talked about, Chris, is the fact that when you're tucked up behind somebody, you honestly can't see what's going on up there.
That's a great point.
It's not as nervous as you think it is.
It can't, because two things. And one is you almost got to use your instincts. Here, let's go on board with Daniel Falkingham for a second here. He is literally pushing. What can you see here? You have to use your instincts to know where the corner is. You can kind of poke out there and know it's coming, and then you got to turn. But if you're directly up behind that car and you don't know the corner's coming, I mean, you just got to be very careful. I think that's where you see sometimes some wrecks that happen at Daytona and Talladega from the car sliding up into the other car because he just misjudged the corner. But yeah, that's a very fair point there. We've got 33 laps to go, 55 laps in the books. I would expect in the next 5 laps you will see cars on pit road. I don't usually do this, but I'm going to do it. And with your audio on, you'll obviously be able to hear these guys too. I'm actually going to turn the audio of the cars on for the drivers. So you will hear them come out and say, so-and-so pitting this time or whatever. Hopefully nobody will be like, you bleeping bleep. We've had that happen before too.
Which happens.
Which we're on YouTube, we're on Twitch. Not like we've heard that on other streams before.
Lap cars go high, right? So you see the leader, the 06, coming out of turn 4. The 24 of Medina going to go high. We see Chris, or we see the 74 heading to pit road. Brian Bergman going in.
Now, you heard the communication there, where I think it was Byron Daly, I think is who it was, literally say to the driver, hey, lap car, go high. Because they're able to communicate like this. But here's one thing I do want to point out, Kevin. 32 laps to go. You're in the window to pit here. I'm surprised that you do not have a pack of cars already on pit road, because it seems like the favorable move to gain track position on iRacing is to short pit and get in there, get your tires and fuel, get back out, be the first to pit last. And I just heard somebody call it out. Let's see. It looks
see
like
Mike Kelly.
Mike Kelly. Not surprised, but
by himself though.
Singing the old "All by Myself" song, locks it down. 55-mile-an-hour speed limit. Yeah, that one.
That's what he's saying right now. I don't want to be.
He's like, not even Simley came with me.
He could make this worse by missing his pit box, so he's gingerly tucking himself in there.
He's like, man,
now, why would he take 2 tires?
If he does do 2 tires here, he wants to do lefts, which is exactly what he did.
Right, because he could take them and get them done before the fuel is filled, so he might as well get the traction that affords them.
But here's the thing: he had 14.2 on pit road. You might as well have taken 4 tires.
Pitting right here, close pitting.
Here we go.
Oh, going in. Here we go. See Chad Coleman dropping in, Mons dropping in. There's a whole host of them heading to pit road.
Bunch of team namers here. There's about 12 cars here.
This is the pressure, and I don't know how they do it. They get in, they get off, come out together. If you screw this up, you are toast.
A lot of them will actually communicate with each other in channel. Probably there on Discord, they were probably like, "Oh, Jatina misses pit stall a little bit," but they were probably like, "Hey, I'll go near the wall. Hey, I'll stay towards the yellow line." You'll get a lot of that kind of communication in iRacing amongst drivers, so that they can kind of paint the picture of, "Hey, this is where I'm going to be when I cut down off the track, so that you don't run me over or we don't make contact." But then, of course, there's the wild card of people locking the tires up. You got to find your pit stall. What if you wheel hop? So many different elements that come into play for these cars, but it looks like everybody's smooth off pit road here. And here comes your next assortment of cars. And you do not want to hit that yellow cone either.
Yeah, somewhat decent, but a couple of these guys are out in the back of this run here. They risk not getting up through the gears and keeping track. You see, starting with Friery in the 77, Joey Jatina's out back.
Well, Jatina overshot his pit stall. Well, Jatina overshot his pit stall, so that doesn't help him there. Sigmund and Wood's not sure if they might have entered conservative or had something happen, but yeah, there's so many little things that can happen on a pit stop that can play a role here. As you see now, we've got about a 6-car pack. Should become 10 here quickly, because it looks like Daly's right there getting pushed. And obviously, as these guys are single file, they should be able to catch these other packs. But, you know, now it's just a matter of, let's see how many cars they can get around here. But this goes
just some of the best in the business with pitting. You see the 38 of Coleman, always amazing when it comes to that. You see Josh Parker, so practiced at it. Beasley's right there. Comstock is always in that front mix, riding right there with Daniel Falkingham. Best of the best on pit road, just every single Speedway race.
So I bring this up for this reason. You go back to Mike Kelly, who made that pit stop. He took 2 left side tires, got fuel, and took off out of pit road. His pit stop was all of 1 second faster than the field. Most of these pit stops were 15 seconds. There were a couple high 14s. Within that 1 lap, he probably pretty much evened out with the time he gained being by himself. it's one of those things. I don't question what he did. It's his call, whatever he wants to do in that situation.
Yeah.
But my point is, I think 4 tires is the better answer in that move. Now, lucky for Kelly, I just noticed where he is. He is actually in this second pack. So he did make out okay with this. But now you've got cars around you, mostly 4 tires. He's got 2 left side tires.
You look at the way this played out, and if you could see the track map, they're all over the place. The lead group going through the tri-oval, coming to the start finish line. There's a second little cluster now just entering the tri-oval, and then sporadic spots of cars all the way back. Couple big losers on this, but now some of these guys, because of the way things are running single file, have to wonder if they can find a caution in their future to bring everything back to center.
Oh, hold on, Justin Mons. He almost went to Birmingham. Well, it's funny you say track map. All I do is hit a button, and there's a track map up on the screen where everybody's running right now.
Ding, ding, ding.
So that's one of the advantages we have with the product we can use here. But, oh, and Mons goes hard into the wall with Kevin Brown. He got right hooked hard. Montesi's involved also. And there's the caution.
There it is.
I looked
The
up and I
Mohawk
saw
Foundation
this.
number 49 sitting backwards, wondering what the heck happened.
I looked up and saw the side of the 49, and I'm like, uh-oh. And then I saw the 39. It looks like Kevin might be okay. Maybe some engine damage, though, because that front end is smashed down. Second caution with 26 laps to go, lap 62.
I'm going to say maybe Mons might have caught the apron. If not,
Well, let's roll that beautiful bean footage and take a look.
right there, just nicks the right there, and then the car comes up a little bit
And
out of the
Coleman's
lane.
coming
You
down
can
at
see
the
it
same
just
time.
move off that yellow line.
So that's 3 playoff drivers right there. 4 playoff drivers.
And unfortunately for Montesi, that front end hit, that isn't going to help his cause, and the 38 gets creamed one more time.
Tough break for these guys. So, yeah, it looks like you said, the 49 caught the apron. Coleman was coming down maybe to side draft, and as the Diamond Rio song once said, you start walking one way and I still walk in mine, and we meet in the middle. Bing. And it turns into a 4-car wreck.
Oh, those are big hits for those guys.
I don't think that's the exact line of the song, but that's basically the song. Yeah, great job by everybody to miss that. Yeah, let's go on
Yeah,
board.
just a
because-
great job, a heads up. And you know how many guys in the back going, woohoo!
Yeah, right. Or
Right.
even better, how many
All those cars out of this shot right now,
how many people
and
are,
the handful that were out in front of this.
not to mention how many are like, wow, that just eliminated some of our drivers that we needed to beat. Let's see.
Well, yeah, you do tend to take that mental math. Like, okay, that's the 38. Okay, there's the 49. They all know they leapfrogged the 19 already. They already know they leapfrogged a couple others in this race. So,
Well, at the
Pretty
same
amazing.
time, though, remember who's in this race still. The 19 is still in this race. So he's going to gain positions off of this. So is Jimmy Coleman. So, again, as we get our caution featuring cars that were not on the lead, or cars that were involved in the playoffs here, let's bring the points back up and see who plays a role in this one. So Tyler Dalton's had issues. Let's go over to Justin Mons. He's pretty much, I think that just eliminated him out of the playoffs. Let's see, Mons right now is, yep, he's off the track. So Mons has pretty much been eliminated now. Montesi was actually not in the playoffs, so I mistakenly thought. So 3 drivers involved. Let's see, Chad Coleman, he's on pit road getting damage fixed, and he is 93 out. He was only 8 out right now, so it looks like he's out. One thing we should mention, I don't think Jose Gonzalez is here tonight, so let's eliminate him off the list in 14th. So you're seeing right now 10th, 12th, 13th, we'll count 14th, and 16th, and 17th. And Bobby Wetzel's not here, by the way. 17, and then Eric had some issues earlier. So pretty much, a lot of the cars that are sitting here in that 11th through 20th spot right now have had issues tonight. So once again, it plays a role in this, again, an unfortunate situation where two cars kind of maneuver themselves to the same spot. And I think, as you mentioned, the apron helped just slightly a little bit in that deal. So unfortunately, for some of these cars, they're going to be eliminated tonight. So I don't know. It gets very interesting here now.
For Mons, that was his second incident of the race, and unfortunately for him, the second finished him. I mean, I don't know if he's done, but certainly you generally don't get away with it 2 times.
What is done?
Dun.
I mean, I know what a dum
That's a
dum
little
is.
Jeff Dunham.
Silence. Oh, Jeff Dunham, that guy's awesome.
Dun. That means stick a fork in him, as we
Put a
said
fork.
before.
Let's see it again here.
Not a spork, a fork.
All right, as we come back.
Montesi has one of 2 things going on. He has a good run, or he just gets killed every single time. I mean, he's minding his own P's and Q's there. That's just the life of Mike Montesi, I think. It's a cruel fate for him sometimes.
Unfortunately, that's the way luck works in racing. All right, so we're getting ready to come back to green. And look at these players up front now. Everybody's pretty much packed up their stuff. They're not pitting anymore. I mean, you could get some guys towards back pitting if I'm, Bentley Glazier, Eric Arnold, Ron Holyfield. You come get tires just to have the max amount of grip and things like that for a race like this. I mean, how much it helps? But Comstock leads Justin Fuller on the outside. Fuller won the Daytona race, by the way, in the Cup Series a couple weeks ago. Elliott Henderson up there in third. E.J. O'Rourke, Tommy Ryan, your top 5. Glenn Campbell, Brian Macklin, Randy Okum, Mike Kelly, Scott Simley in the top 10. Robert Frary, Joey Jattina, Doug Sigmund, 13th. Scott Stendel and Daniel Falkingham, your top 15. As pace car will pull off.
These incidents tend to help someone like Tyler Dalton eliminate a couple of cars, but as laps run out, it's almost D-Day for him, but he should just keep going, see what he can. The 93 sitting on pit road, the 38 sitting on pit road. As these guys wind up, they all suffered the same fate as him, so he's going to possibly leapfrog all of them.
There's about 4 spots sitting there right now for him to take in the next 6 laps. As we go back to green, Fuller gets a good push from Henderson as both of them tandem up both lines. You got to be very careful, or you do not want to be pushing a pusher.
There's another dynamic we not talked about. Is that English? We not?
It works.
93 is a pusher. The 38 is a pusher, a teammate, right? And these guys are eliminated. So let's just say that they're part of some team faction that was counting on these drivers playing a role in supporting cast, and now they're sitting over there on pit road, which weakens the dynamic of that team.
Well, there's a whole nother pusher up there in the top side. Look at Josh Parker. He is literally pushing that 06 car to the front. And when I say literally, I mean he just pretty much did it. Now, one thing I do want to mention, with all of this going on, of course, in this race, easy Macklin getting there to the back of O'Rourke. All of a sudden, a tandem race has broke out up front. But, I mean, obviously, you still got to be careful. There's still plenty of laps to go in this race. Anything can happen. You don't have to worry about the pit stops no more, but obviously, who's going to help who here? Who's going to be the drivers that can get others up there to the front or get themselves up there to potentially win this race when it's all said and done?
I'll tell you what, that Coors Light can
Yeah.
What a recovery for him. Remember, he was sliding sideways earlier in that first incident tonight, lap number 20, and here we are working lap 68, and he's pushing Macklin, trying to make that high side come up here to the lead. So great redo here for Byron Daly. Is Macklin's one of those guys that's the Cinderella story. He just doesn't, I don't know, somehow he always finds his way to win some of these bigger races, including a championship with Sim500.
And that includes the Daytona Xfinity race earlier this season that he went to victory lane in that trans service number 30. It's kind of interesting when I looked at the two cars I mentioned. There was actually three I mentioned, but the two that I thought would be up there towards the end of the race. There was that 30 car of Brian Macklin, and then I mentioned the 10 of Richard Beasley. So Beasley still hanging back. I think he's waiting for the biggin. That's B-I-G-U-N, biggin.
Biggin. How big is it?
It's big. It's a biggin. That's a true statement, actually. We've never really ever gotten a definition of what the definition... What in the world did I just say? Of what the biggin is.
The definition.
Okay, so I mentioned earlier the pushing the pusher. Everyone's favorite cookie, especially those of the old school variety, Kevin, prove me wrong here, is the basic regular Oreo, correct?
Good old Oreo, yep.
Okay. You grab an Oreo cookie, squeeze both ends. What happens to the car in the middle?
It pops.
It squeezes out.
Like a zit.
It wrecks, basically. And so basically what I'm trying to say is the cream of the cookie is the second car.
Yeah.
So you push the pusher, it gets spun around. So you got to be careful when you're out here in these tandems, and when you're pushing, you got to be aware of what's in front of you, because if you try to push that second car and he's stuck on the first car, guess what's happening? You're probably going to have a caution out in about 2 seconds. Look at Beasley swerving his way clear high. He just literally chopped the nose off Campbell.
Wow. He's looking on that high line. He's not done yet. He wants a little bit more.
I think he heard his name and he's like, all right, time to go.
Thank you, man. Have another. Get a call out Scott Simley. We have not talked about that number 12 all night long. He's sitting right there in the middle lane. Talk about the meat and the sandwich, currently running 7.
Yeah, Scott's another one of those racers that has been on here for a long time. I remember racing with him at the beginning of my time here, which was all of 10 years ago. Daytona wasn't even on, or Daytona was on iRacing, but it was the 08 track. Matter of fact, let's see, what wasn't on iRacing at that point? Let's see, Martinsville was still not. Because I remember having to buy that track. Kansas was not on iRacing at that point. There were so many tracks at that time. People laughed at the fact of dirt racing coming in.
Yeah. I'm just in awe of watching. You know, one of the things we noticed is give and take. Typically, there's been quite a few buffers in between the front and back of these cars, but every single lap it gets tighter and tighter and tighter. They draw closer together. Now they're physically riding the back bumpers of the car in front of them. If they don't, someone's going to stick a car in front of them. And when they do that, you tend to see what we see out the windshield here is cars just wiggling, wobbling. Yeah. Remember that kite analogy that I gave of how the kite flops back and forth? And you're in no control of the car when it's doing that. You're just counter steering as it goes through.
Right, a lot of people think you're not able to hold a line. It's more the opposite. It's the car moving.
It's the buffering in the air.
Yeah. One of my favorite iRacing names of all time, JW Spells, watching on YouTube. Appreciate JW joining us. I don't know what it spells yet, but we'll figure it out. That was my joke I'd always say to him. It's like, JW Spells, I don't know what it spells, but it spells something. And now the pushing really going to amp up. The racing really going to amp up. Oh my gosh, Simley gave room to Beasley there. But the other question, do we have an upset in the works? I mean, we could have somebody who has never won in this series go to win this race as Macklin gets a good push from Daly. I mean, Glenn Campbell could win this. Beasley drops it down.
Just dive down to that yellow line. There's another interesting dynamic in here, Chris, that we've not talked about is you have 3 cars that are 1 lap down. Jimmy Coleman, Charles Wood, Ed Burrell. They're all fighting for that position. And then you have other cars that are laps down. The 22 of Nelson Rivera running 35th right now, 18 laps down. He's somewhere right in the middle of that front pack riding in that group.
O'Rourke and Beasley loose down there in that bottom. Yeah, I mean, Rivera, who was involved in that first caution.
You might say, what business does he have? But you know what? He's got teammates in this race. And if he can be up there and lend a support staff to one of his teammates, then for all right and purposes, he belongs in there.
Well, any car. I mean, if you're racing to get your lap back in this race, I mean, you're still in it. I mean, there's a point where, yes, you abort and get out. But that's part of this racing is you got to get up there and try to race for this. That got close. Oh,
wow.
The 81 of Parker. Somebody's on the apron down there. It's Eric Arnold. Way to avoid that. But the 81 of Parker, that almost was UGLI.
Wow. Oh, the 06 just carved down in front of. I closed my eyes. I didn't think he was going to be able to make that slot. We talk about them putting him in spaces where they don't belong. That's about as thin as a needle you could thread there.
I said this at the beginning of the broadcast. I said it in the middle. I'll say it again right now because I know I'm kind of beating a dead horse. Oh, by the way, look who's leading. I've beaten a dead horse here with this, and I'm going to say it again right now. I'll even throw the Coke Series into this. But I challenge anyone to find another league that has super speedway racing of this kind. Just a few weeks ago, I was sitting here like, what in the hell are these guys doing? They're ludicrous. And then I realized, you know what? No, they're not ludicrous. They just know what they're doing, and they're this good at it. And you see it. I mean, they're able to push each other. They're able to, you see the 81 get all sideways there. They're able to hold on. They're able to make these kind of moves. They're able to do whatever to win this race. And if I'm broadcasting another league right now in this kind of race, I'm closing my eyes like you are, like, oh God, oh God, oh God. But now I'm like, this is part of it.
This is par for the course for these guys. Look at that outside line run.
Jump up there. I mean,
top to the bottom, slicing, dicing.
This race
just
right
incredible.
Here is part of the reason why there was a post on Twitter earlier. Sage Karam, he runs the Indy 500 a lot. He's run a few Xfinity races this season. Actually went out there. Is there any fun Xfinity / Cup Series to run? I brought up this league. This is why. I mean, this is there's going to be a channel, of course, that's been airing our races in the last 3 or 4 weeks, the Sim Racing channel over on the Roku. If you have a Roku, later on this week, you'll be able to watch this race on the Sim Racing channel app, right there on your TV. And there's a reason why Joey Jattina and I went to work and said, get this on that channel. I mean, these guys, they race hard. They're having fun doing this. And what makes it even funnier is they will literally, after the race, get into a group together. Oh, Randy Yoakum!
Who?
He saved that car!
And everybody scatters. Looks like somebody threw a cracker out into the pond and all the geese.
Okay. Randy Yoakum just made one of the best saves I've seen in a very long time. Let me go find this, and real quickly I'll say that the reason why we put this league on that channel is because of that. And Devin, I do love the Indy cars, by the way, too. I wish I could.
I think he had a little help there. 77 tagged him, did a little tank slapper.
But that's no tank slap. I mean, he was down at the inside wall and then back up the outside wall and kept it straight. Let me see if
he just kept his foot in it. Sage Karam's a local boy to me. Lives in Easton, Pennsylvania. I think he wrestled for Easton
Is he
if I'm
from?
not
Oh,
mistaken.
okay, yeah. I was gonna say like
Nazareth
the
guy.
Nazareth area, right? Yeah.
Yes,
All right, let's
in our neck of the woods.
watch this right here.
Look at that.
I mean, this car is. I mean,
All intent and purposes, once he turned right, he was toast.
Cody Ware, not to bring him up again, hit
Cody Ware.
at Texas, or just like this kind of wreck, except without the contact. How did he say? Well, he got the wall a little bit, but still.
And he's just fortunate it swung back the other way and he didn't go do right. But the 77, I don't know. He must have clipped the apron or something.
He just went up the
You
track.
could
I
see
wonder
the
if he.
10 pushing in the corner.
Mhm.
We were talking about that earlier.
I think it was more of the. I think he saw the line was going up there, the momentum, and he tried to fill that gap between the two and was not clear. Devin Fox gives him 40-plus drift points. But you see now what has happened because of that miss is we've now got a separate pack here. We've got 12 cars in the lead pack, and then there's a gap back to Mike Kelly, or back to Eric Arnold now. So these guys are single file. They're trying to get back up to the other guys. And this could be interesting because when
You
Arnold
don't know
gets,
where to look.
No.
You just don't.
No. When Arnold gets to this pack, they're going to have to make a decision. Do they just line back up, or do they just take the outside and go? I almost think if you're up here in the front where Byron Daly's getting tandemed now by O'Rourke, which I guess the idea would go out the window. I was going to say try to get single file at the top, but good luck. They're all over the place. They're like a kindergarten line going to lunch.
The thing that I see here, and you're going to see it in turn 1-2 combination, is side drafting, right? Now
Yeah.
these drivers are getting pretty aggressive. The top drivers are holding the bottom line down, coming down, swinging in, getting that side draft, driving up on the side. We've not seen a lot of side drafting up at this point, but as the laps tick down with 6 to go, now it's game on, man. These guys are looking for their track position, and they are on kill.
O'Rourke just had a moment, but and that's one thing too. In real life, the side draft in this car is almost, oh my gosh, I thought they were going to wreck right there, non-existent. In iRacing, it's there. The side draft is still very there in this car. As you see Daly now getting the push from the 51 of Fuller, so I'm still watching Campbell. I mean, he's there. If you're on the lead lap right now, you can win this race, period.
Yeah, and there's a couple Cinderella stories in there. Scott Stenzel, who makes limited appearances, he's right in that group. Wow. The team car to the 41 we see swinging all. John Fowler can sneak away with a win here tonight.
Oh, and there goes...
Up in 90 sitting in there as, whoa, did you see him hit the bump?
I saw Parker get sent
Or
to
did
the
a wheelie
inside.
almost.
Parker about got sent to Montgomery. O'Rourke about got sent to Tuscaloosa. I mean, the bump drafts are for real now.
Incredible.
And look at Campbell jumps up topside there with help from Teft. How about Andrew
Yep.
Teft?
If Andrew Teft wins this race, they're going to tear the grandstand down. Look at that
Look at
block
these
by the
moves.
51.
5 to go. Okay.
We just keep screaming over each other about
I'm
the
okay with it.
incredible moves these guys are making. Track position at a massive premium right now.
So I ask this around this point every time in a super speedway race. I'm like, are they done wrecking? We've only wrecked twice. So, well, we've wrecked 100 times, so we've only hit something twice. They wrecked right there.
Just got tagged.
But, I mean, are we really racing to the green, to the checker right here, or are we going to have a caution somewhere? That's where I'm going. Oh!
Wow, how did he save that car? We're talking about the 06 was just flat sideways over there in turn 4. Bounced off the other car, gathered it up. They got lap cars up to the high side here. Look at the run Joey Jattina has going up through the middle.
By the way, I should say the second pack is really separated. I don't know what happened to it, but something went on because you now have cars all spread out from that second pack. So it is literally coming down to 13 cars, it looks like, racing for the win here, unless somebody pulls a 79 Richard Petty move and wins it from turn 1.
It stands to reason that we have no idea how the points are going to shake out. We're going to have to
No.
wait till the final tally comes and then
Usually,
see where that lands. Let's just live in the moment of who the heck is going to win. It's pretty much anybody's game here in this top 15.
usually at this point, I could say, all right, by this number, he's here. By number this, I'm just not even going to say a word. Let's just enjoy the finish of this race. 3 laps to go. And there is green, white checkers, 2 of them to be exact.
Joey Datina had tagged the back of the car we saw on the backstretch, Teft, and then somehow he found the sucker hole and had a run. DJ O'Rourke never disappoints.
And here comes Beasley. Byron blocks. Say that 3 times fast. I just said 3 Bs in 2 seconds.
Beasley, Byron block. Look who else is in the mix here. The 93 has joined in this mess. those guys.
93's a lap down. Kevin DeBrown.
I know, but he's going to potentially be that.
He's the pusher.
Mixer.
Yeah.
How about Glenn Campbell on the high side? Yeah. He got a big push and is up there in the 44 Trans Service car trying to see if he can get himself a win tonight.
2 laps to go. Byron Daly leading this race, and there is Richard Beasley. I'm pretty sure if Kevin King is watching this stream right now, he is thinking, exactly, here comes Falkingham. Side drafts to 51. Beasley jumps up. Oh, contact with Daly.
Oh, there they go.
Beasley.
How did Beasley save that?
Beasley saved it, but Daly is
Still
spinning.
trying. Daly's sideways.
Caution's coming out. There's the caution.
And that's going to bring a caution. How about that? These guys are wrecking over there in turn 4 under caution. The 44 just plunked the wall on an errant push. Grazed it maybe, but that's not going to make the Rhinestone Cowboy very happy.
Oh boy. GWC number 1. Wow. All right, this is our chance to take a breath. Take a break.
Do it all over again.
Woosah. For those watching on the stream, this is your chance. Go get the go. As a former broadcaster that that kind of got me and Wortman and Scott Simley into racing, I'm going to keep it an edited version of it. But basically, you would say at this point, go get some water or go get an adult beverage. Go take your dog out for a walk. Have him go poop. Whatever. And we'll be right back. That's basically where we're at right now with this race. So let's go see what happened. Byron Daly ended up jumping to the pits.
This is one of those moments where you say, folks, look, Sim500 runs 2, 3, sometimes 7 nights a week. If you're interested.
Ooh.
Oh, what a huge hit for the 06. Second time is not the charm. That would hurt, folks.
That looked like the silver bullet making a hit right there. Let's hold on, boys. Let's this one's gonna leave a mark. Thankfully, he didn't hit rear end first. So he might have a concussion. So he gets side draft right there, and he goes up to block the line.
Look at him trying to steer himself out of it.
Well, if you see on board here, you actually kind of see clearly what he does here. Beasley makes the move, and his only move daily in this case is to.
Who was that just slid through the grass? Did you see that?
Great question. I saw that out of the corner of my eye. But basically, his only reaction here was to go up and try to block this lane. Now, I think he could have easily went down to the bottom and waited, but
yeah,
it's one of those instinct moves here that you have to make.
I think Beasley gets to live again now.
So this is that second pass. Oh, that's you know who that was? That was Bentley Glazier.
Is that who it was?
That was that
looked
second.
Like a carnival ride going through that grass. I was going to say, you know, the excitement of racing with Sim500, they run several nights a week now. I don't know.
Every night.
Right in here to the Monday series. Maybe you've got your sim racing chops, but there's plenty of races to come out. Super Speedway races, dirt races. Sim500.com, you can sign up and come. And you'll get to race with these guys. That's the one thing, too, about these drivers is on any given night, you're going to be running against Campbell. You're going to be running against O'Rourke and Parker and Dalton and whatever on a Thursday night running Xfinity or 87s or whatever.
Trucks,
It's
yeah.
such a blast to come out and run with these
Now,
guys.
one guy I will say in the near future you will not be racing with is this guy, Daniel
Yes.
Falkingham. There is one rule that Sim500 has, and that is once you become a black stripe,
Black
another word
stripe.
for it, but basically a pro driver,
Pro,
you are
yeah.
eliminated from the league. And Daniel Falkingham actually has moved on into the Xfinity Series in the Road to Pro, so he is one that's going to move on. Obviously, he's still allowed to race and finish the seasons out and stuff like that, but obviously Daniel is a very talented driver, and he is potentially going to be looking at going to victory lane here. So with 2 laps to go in this race, and real quickly as we go 1 to go, let's take a quick word here from our sponsors here. I don't want to. This race has been so fun. We don't want to forget about them. They're the main reason we're able to broadcast this race tonight. Our good friends here at 811. Just check this out.
If recent storms have caused damage to your property, contact 811 before you begin your cleanup. Buried utilities around uprooted trees can make a bad situation worse if those lines are not located before digging. Electric, natural gas, and internet lines are everywhere, and knowing where they are is the safest way to start any digging project. Call North Carolina 811 by dialing 811 or by using single address ticket on NC811.org or the NC811 app.
All right, Safety Sam said it best right there in that sign. If you looked very closely, he said, no, it's below. That's in this race, that's not only underground. Obviously, you do want to make sure you do call before you go digging. You never know what's in the ground there. That's why pretty much every state in America has an 811 service. You see Tommy Ryan has Virginia on his car, as most of the drivers do, no matter what state you're in. I'm in the state of Georgia. Kevin's in Pennsylvania, as you mentioned. I've lived in Florida, Indiana, New York. They all got it. You can always dial 811 before you dig, especially if you're in Florida right now with Ian, as we continue to think about those people down there affected. You want to call before you dig. It's very important that you do that. But going off the sign, know what's below. In this situation, you're going to want to know what's below you. You're probably going to want to know what's above you. You might want to know what's behind you. You might want to know what's in front of you. And anything else that I might have missed. You're going to want to know it here in the next 2 laps. As Devin, yep, Tennessee has one. Yep, that's, they're great people. They will take care of you. They'll answer any questions. You never know if there's a water line down there. You never know if electric, which, of course, a lot of the cables and stuff like now go into the ground, actually, believe it or not, like fiber. That internet service, that's all underground now. So, you got to know what's below before you go dig. So, all right, let's recap here. We're coming to green-white checker number 1 here. It's going to be lap number 90. Daniel Falkingham leads. Tommy Ryan, Justin Fuller, Mike Kelly, Andrew Teft, and Joey Jattina. That's your front 3 rows. Glenn Campbell right there behind Jattina. And then you got John Fowler and the upside-down 48 on his car. Haven't pointed that out yet. As we come to the green flag, if we make it back to the white, we will finish this race. If not, we'll have one more chance to finish this under green. Seatbelts on, popcorn in hand, drinks ready, let's go. 2 to go. Beasley jumps out of line real quickly, and you see Falkingham jumps up to join Tommy Ryan. And immediately goes to block mode. Mike Kelly up the middle with Andrew Teft. And Tommy Ryan just got shuffled 4 wide.
4 wide. The
Here
10 just
comes
drove
Kelly.
through that gap, made it 4 wide. And here he comes to the outside with a huge head of steam. Falkingham's going to lead out of 4.
Fowler, he made the move too late. Beasley went to the middle. I was going to say Fowler needs to drop down.
Incredible. How did Beasley do that? He just drove from deep in the
Like
pack
10th,
out front.
Should I remind you, Mike Joyce says this all the time. The start-finish line's down there, turn 1.
Yeah.
And they're going to make it there. White flag, final lap.
Those two
Anybody
stay
in this...
looked
Go ahead.
to each other, locked.
There's the tandem, yeah. But here's the problem. You're going to get too far ahead, and this pack's going to come back up. If you're on the lead lap right now, you can win this race.
Fowler, no friends up
Beasley
there
going to
on
the
the
top of the
top.
block.
Macklin's going.
Yep. Fuller to the bottom with help from O'Rourke. Beasley throws
Somebody
a
here
block to
doesn't make it back.
Falkingham. Oh, contact. Stenzel's on the apron.
Yep, there goes the
And there
10
goes
around,
Beasley in
the
a bunch.
48's in the wall, the 81's in the wall. It's going to be a 4 run to the finish here.
Big wreck as they come off turn 4. Here comes O'Rourke making a move. Topside gets into Fuller and they wreck. Mike Kelly.
Mike Kelly squirts out there. Wow. Mike Kelly from 3rd.
Steals Talladega.
I have to believe Fuller's just not going to be pleased with EJ O'Rourke. O'Rourke doing whatever he can to win. And Mike Kelly did the Ross Chastain and just pulled down to the low line.
Yeah.
Drove across that finish line and pulled away the win here. Congrats to Mike Kelly.
A 811.org vehicle to victory lane tonight in Mike Kelly, who needed some, I believe needed some help to get to the second round. Let me just check. Nope, he's in. No problem, he's in. So he has solidified his spot in, and we're going to that big wreck just played a role in who goes to the second round.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to go through and review all that here in a second as Kelly celebrates.
Kelly was in 8th coming off of turn number 2 and just stayed in that low line, and everybody in front of him cleared themselves out, and he ended up with the win.
And once again, another broadcast where I call the finish, and I have to mute my mic to cough because I'm choking over here because I'm just excited. Oh, man. All right, so Kelly celebrates. Let's go back to turn 4. The big one finally happens. Everybody just racing hard. You can't blame anyone.
It was pandemonium off turn 4 for several of these guys. One of the biggest hits, I think, was the 81. Saw the 10 get sideways.
Yeah, you see Stenzel's down on the apron here, and right there, Macklin goes down into Joey. I'm assuming Macklin got hit there.
Not a tough night for Joey as he was there. Good news for him is he's relatively higher in the points than some of these drivers.
Campbell gets in there. Andrew Teft looks like he's going to be okay as others just trying to make their way through. Look at that four-wheel drift there from... Nice save by Comstock. That thing was gone. Yeah.
There were so many different hip checks going on in the entry to turn number 3, right, left, you know. Excuse me, pardon me, coming through. That's what we saw there. And eventually it just got out of control.
Ed Burrell's going backwards up the front straightaway.
Ed Burrell.
Oh, my gosh.
Doing the Ricky Bobby there. I think it all starts somewhere about the 48. No luck for Brian Wertman that time.
Well, he kind of got through.
He kind of shoved his way through. Chad Coleman plunked it one more time. That's the bad news when you're stopped sitting over there and the entire field drives away. You know your finish is toast.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's kind of a bad, it's like a terrible feeling. So it looks like it happens right at the Brian Macklin car.
Yeah, hop in the 48.
Because there you see the Stenzel.
The 48.
Okay. 42 gets turned right there, and he goes onto the apron and saves it. And you see Macklin gets up into the 48. And then right here, I think Comstock's trying to push him. And there's contact, or I don't know, they're kind of...
Yeah, the 48 slowed the 30, and then the 30 just bottled everything up. But
yeah, Jatina comes up, clobbers Tyler Dalton, and then that's where Beasley gets turned.
I'm not sure which happened first, the 13 into the 30 or the 48 came down and nicked him. and that slowed him up, and the 13 got to him.
We're going to find out right now. Let's go on board with the 48 of John Fowler and see what we can get out of this.
Yeah, a little bump right there.
You know what? You know what I see actually happen is it looks like Macklin reacts to the 42 right here, because if you look to the left over at the A bar, you're going to see the 30 come up when the 42 goes sideways here. All right, so
And this is what happened to the 39. Daniel was trying to get down low, push the 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree with you. You see that come up. And that's why Daniel was not behind the 2 to push him across the line. But the 2 just pulled the win there from the cars in front of him clearing out.
Now, I do notice something here, and let's check this out. Let's ride the 90 here. You'll notice something here.
Ooh.
So he gets into the 42, and then him and the 10 come together. Oh, Henderson's down on the apron making moves. Who's that wrecking across the line? That was O'Rourke, okay.
That was O'Rourke spinning off.
So I'm not trying to blame the 90 or anything like that, but he obviously got into the 42 and then got into the 10 at the end of that thing. So, wow, that was crazy. All right, let's take a look.
Good choice by Bentley Glazer to get a top 5 there.
No kidding, right? Let's take a look at the finishing order of this race here, and then we'll talk to our top 3, and we'll see if we can get the points and figure out who's into the final round of 5 races. But Mike Kelly gets his win this season here in the 2 car, and for Mike, that is his first win of the season. Picked a good time to get it. And the 2 car, Justin Fuller finishes 2nd. Daniel Falkingham 30, J.R. Rourke finishes 4th, and Bentley Glazer finishes 5th. Andrew Teft, Elliott Henderson, Robert Frary finishes 8th. Josh Parker, Tommy Ryan ends up with a top 10.
11th for Randy Yoakum tonight, the number 8. David Comstock slid across the line there in 12th. Jay Coleman, how about that recovery?
Yeah, right. Jimmy finishes 13th.
For
wow.
Jimmy. 14th position tonight here for John Fowler. Brian Macklin, after all that little bit of a tussle at the end, ended up 15th. 16th tonight for Hollifield. Beasley, he ended up 17th after all of that. Brian Wertman pushed and banged and shoved his way to an 18th place tonight. Doug Segman, top 20 for Doug, 19th tonight, and it will be Eric Arnold in the 31, finishing 20th.
Scott Senzel, 21st. Joey Jattina, 22nd. These guys did not make it back to the finish line. Scott Simley, 23rd. Glenn Campbell, oh, man, that's tough. 24th for him as he ran up front all night. Charles Woods, 25th, the mailman there. 26th, Ed Burrell. Jose Medina finished in 27th. Byron Daly ran up front all night, finishes 28th after his wreck. 29th to Tyler Dalton, 30th to Doug Roth, Chad Coleman, Kevin DeBrown, Nelson Rivera, Mons, Montesi, and Doy Woods, unfortunately, all had issues tonight in this race. And let's start with a driver that picked up his 2nd top 5 on the super speedways this season after his top 5 in the Daytona 500K that they had earlier this season. And Daniel joins us. Are we in the Sunday or Monday chat? I always get that mixed up.
Monday?
We're Monday. All right. I just making sure because last week we were in the admin room.
Monday.
We find wherever room we can find basically to go hang out in. But Daniel joins us here. Daniel, that was a wild, I guess that's even a mild-mannered word to use in this situation, wild race that you you had to do everything you could do. The good news is you finished on all 4 wheels. You finished on the lead lap. You didn't finish 30-something like you did in the other 2 races. And you come out with a 3rd place finish, so basically a 1.75 average or something like that in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, those kind of finishes will win you a championship. So hopefully we can do that in the next round, which I'm feeling good. There's a lot of tracks I like, so hopefully we can go take care of business in the final round. But yeah, glad to finish plate race. I think that's the first one I finished all season. So
Top
or
5
actually
at
no,
Daytona.
I did finish Daytona. So third at Daytona, third here tonight. Like started the season at Daytona third, finished the plate season third at Dega. So I guess it's all full circle. But proud to we had a lot of fun tonight. It was tough to drive because with how hot the track was, the setup was really loose. It was just like burning up their right rear. It felt like we were loose sliding, trying to push, getting people loose. Like it was a fun time. I had a lot of fun, and hopefully we can do something like that again sometime.
So I've tried to explain this to the viewers that are watching tonight, and I figured you might be the perfect person to ask this question to, because you're doing everything you can do, and are well on your way to being a pro driver and potentially in the Coke Series eventually and stuff like that. So obviously you're one that sees what goes on in the Coke Series. You see these other Road to Pro races that you're a part of. You see these other leagues race and that kind of thing. There's something different about Sim500 on super speedways in the racing. What is it? Is it the racecraft that everybody kind of knows what they're doing out there? Is it a talent type of thing? What is it that makes this different?
All it really is just it's just a group of guys you get. I mean, there's a great group of over here that we get the plate race with. Definitely, plate races are some of our best races all year long because everyone just loves to work so well together. So when you get a good group of guys like this, it just produces great racing. We all know each other. We've all raced together. Or at least I've known these guys. I've been racing with these guys for 4 years. So I definitely know what each person does, their strengths, weaknesses, and all that. And so yeah, I kind of just know like what everyone's gonna be doing. So yeah, it was a great race tonight. Proud of everybody. We didn't have too many wrecks with how awful handling the car was, which made it a lot of fun. So yeah, it was a good time.
Absolutely, man. Well, great job tonight. Congratulations on your top 3 finish this evening. And why don't you send some shout outs to whoever you like to?
Yeah, January 31st, first year Baylox 207 for all their support. So everyone runs Sim500, Joey, all the admins. Also got to thank everyone races each every week. Everyone at Team Name, Chad, David, Josh, Byron, Richard, and everyone else I'm forgetting. Thanks to all them guys. Thanks to North Force Racing, President Gilson, crew over there, getting ready for the Contender Series starting up in a few weeks' time. So getting ready to roll with that. So thanks to all my teammates over there and everyone who supports me, lets me come do this. Also got to thank you guys putting on the broadcast. Thanks to Cosman for painting up my paint scheme. Thanks to NC811 for all they do for the series. All the fans who watch each every week, and my friends and family for all the support.
There you go, my man. Well, great job. Congratulations. Go get yourself something to drink, take a breath, and go enjoy the highlights. It's a fun race, and I know you had that car as wide as you could, basically, on that restart. So great effort on your part, man. Congratulations, and let's go get the championship there in the second round.
Yeah, we're going to go. We got 5 races left. I've been denied the last 3 years, but I think this year we can do it, but we just got to stand our toes. Like I said, if we can have another great round 1 like we did this time around, I think we can do it. So we're going to go full head of steam into the final 5 races, and we'll see what we can do.
Absolutely, man. Great job.
Thanks. Yep, thanks, Chris.
Yeah, you too, Daniel. Daniel Falkingham's 3rd place finisher tonight. Obviously wanted that win and raced like he wanted it. Unfortunately, falls up a little bit short. So, Kev, who are you caught up to? You got the 2nd place finisher, don't you?
Yeah, we're going to catch up to New York's Justin Fuller. Justin, 2nd at the line, so close. Justin coming off of turn number 4 and just got a little contact from the 41 trying to get the win. His 2nd disappointing.
I mean, yeah, when you're only showing up to win the race, and you seem like you're always coming through the tri-oval, coming to the line, battling for the win at this track or Daytona, and just get taken out at the end. You know, it's just, I'm not mad about it. You know, it's just super speedway racing. It's Talladega, Daytona. You know, it's just how it is. It does suck that he just kind of lost that. And initially, I thought he tried to come down to side draft me and you know, or just tried to turn me so he could have a better chance to win the race because he knew he wasn't going to win from that position. But after watching the replay, it looks like he just got loose on the tri-oval. I have no idea how he did that. So that was entertaining. But I had a lot of fun tonight. This car is a lot of fun here, and yeah, not mad about it. Disappointed not to win, but I had fun. So that's all that really matters.
Yeah, take us through those last 10 laps. From the call on our side, sitting here looking out at grandstands, it was just frenetic. Everybody taking whatever run they could. I'm astonished that you guys made it all the way back to the start finish line on that green white checkered. How does that feel from the driver's seat?
You're watching the mirrors, watching where the runs are coming from a lot, and it's really incredible how these lines were dying tonight. You were just randomly like the side draft. I don't know what the air was doing, and it would just kill a line, and it would go back. So you really had to be lucky and be in the right line, or if you see a line moving, jump into that line as quick as possible to try and keep moving forward and stay at the front. So I think you saw the same group of guys running up towards the front that were able to catch on to that and how that was working out pretty well tonight. We were able to stay up there. I lost a draft there one time because I was too busy watching football at the same time, and I didn't want to cause any wrecks, so I went to the back, and then these guys start losing the draft, and then Tommy Ryan got into me and got me all sideways, and I ended up losing the draft. And the first caution came out, or maybe the second caution, I don't remember, but it don't really matter. We had a lot of fun tonight, though. That's all that really matters. Fun group of guys to race with most of the time, and I look forward to it. You probably won't see me here on Monday night for the rest of the year. Maybe we'll come back and run full time next year in the spring there for Daytona in February. We'll see. I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah, they always know when you're here. You're always a presence in that high line, low line. Looked like the high line was.
It really depended on when the momentum was going. I mean, there was like 5 laps in a row where the top line was the only way to be, and it seemed like the bottom died a lot more often than anything. But if you only had a couple guys in the middle lane, like you had to be wherever majority of the cars were,
Yeah.
which was something different that I've never really had to pay attention to. Usually it's quality over quantity. You get the really good guys that can stay close to each other and really make the momentum and get the energy moving. And tonight that wasn't really the case. It seemed like you just had to have the majority of the cars, and that's where the runs would be. So you just really had to pay attention to that and move around to find the speed.
I mean, everybody always wants to win, but the fact that you made it to the finish line itself, congratulations on your second place tonight. Anybody want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. Well, thank you guys for putting on the broadcast, Sim500, for all they do and all the admins there. North Carolina, call 811 before you dig for sponsoring the series. Thanks to Stray Edson for always keeping me looking fresh on the racetrack. I know I don't have any design on this car, but I still think it's the best looking car out on the track, so that's all that matters to me. Thanks to everybody that watched tonight. Thanks to you guys for putting on the broadcast again. I'll probably go back and watch this tomorrow at work. But right now, I'm going to go watch the end of this football game. I think it's a pretty good one.
Yeah, we won't tell your boss about that. There you go, Justin Fuller, second place finisher tonight. Congratulations. Go enjoy that. And I'm not sure who's playing tonight, Monday night. We've been preoccupied, but hopefully you can enjoy the game.
It's an old AFC West game. Oakland, or used to be Oakland, Kansas City and Vegas playing each other. But
there you go.
You actually got me
Vegas in the cellar.
You caught me catching old fantasy scores here and noticing I had one guy to play, and thankfully I was already up in the game. The one guy that I have has no points and is out for the game. Anyways, thankfully I won. All right, 43 lead changes, 16 leaders in this race in the end tonight. So a pretty good number. If you put that towards the, 92 laps. So they fell 2 laps short of halfway. We were on pace for 86 lead changes with 32 drivers, which would have been interesting considering 36 started. But let's get the winner of this race, Mike Kelly, and bring him up here to victory lane. Mike, of course, that 2-car got the break when exactly needed. Kevin pointed out, Mike, you were running in the 8th position when you took the white flag on the final lap, and here you are in victory lane at Talladega getting that win and the ever so exclamation point to the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah, baby. I'm stoked. I mean, I had to get somebody wrecked in front of me, and it had to be a super speedway. But, man, I have been knocking on the door for this first Monday night North Carolina 811 Series win, and I got it.
You did, and all the wildest ways. I mean, what great racing was out there. You stayed aggressive. A lot of guys stayed aggressive throughout. Talk about the restart and just how everything worked out.
Oh, man. There was so much action. I mean, that was so much fun for Talladega, where most of the time you're just riding around bored. But, wow, what a race. So much action. And, I'm just trying to make the chase, or the second round, of course, because, I mean, I was in a good position, but the way we were all packed together, I could have gotten a wreck there that last run and maybe got knocked out. So I mean, I'm not even really thinking about a win, to be honest. I knew I was in a good position on that last restart to just try to stay where I was. And boy, it didn't work out very good. Like you said, I was back to 8th. That bottom line it just wouldn't go on restarts. Sometimes it was like you guys all had a parachute out down there. And I was just like, well, I'm just going to ride it out because even if I finish 14th, I'm going to be fine. And whatever happened on the backstretch coming down there that last lap, I tucked to the bottom and got a run. We all just shot right by everybody. And then I came out in third. I'm like, all right, third's great. And just not too long ago, I was in the same situation with Justin and EJ, and I blew out around EJ instead of going with him. And I really didn't have any hope to do anything, but I stuck with EJ, helped him suck back up to Josh. He ran out of talent and got into Josh, and I snuck by for the win.
155 career starts in the Cup Series. I just went and looked, and you are the 40th different winner, at least according to Sim Racer Hub. There might be a little inaccurate in there, but according to Sim Racer Hub, you're the 40th different winner in this series history.
That's awesome. Man, I've been trying forever to win this Monday Night Premier Series, and I don't know, I got 25, 26 wins here at Sim500, which I'm awfully proud of, but it was nice to get on the board in this series, that's for sure.
Obviously, now the pressure is on for the second round. What needs to happen? Because obviously, everybody's looking at Daniel as the guy to beat in this championship. But what does Mike Kelly have to do to take care of Mike Kelly and potentially compete for the title?
I'm stoked going in these last 5 races. I mean, if you look at the points there, I worked my way up. So through those 5 races with basically no bonus points starting out, I got up to 3rd, and now we're all on an even slate. There's no bonus points going in these last 5 races. So I'm just going to keep what I've been doing, pride myself on consistency. And if I stay out of trouble, I'm usually up front, and I proved it through this last 5 races. So I just got to keep doing what I'm doing. And obviously Daniel's going to be hard to beat if he can go on a tear and run like he usually does, but you get those fast guys a couple bad races, and I feel I got a shot.
Well, great job tonight. Congratulations. Your chance to send some shout-outs to whoever you like to.
Yeah, shout out to you guys, you and Kevin and everyone at Captain Esports Network. Great fun to watch. I'm sure this one's going to be awesome to watch. Your production's second to none for people who cover these races here at Sim500. Thanks to Joey, all the admins, all the sponsors, North Carolina 811, and all the sponsors, Trans Service, who keep this going through all the different series throughout the week. Shout out to Scotty tonight. He had it going there till the end, as usual, gets wrecked right at the end, but managed to squeak into the chase. So both the Turn 1 hero guys are in the final 10. We both got a shot. And as always, special thanks to my smoking hot wife.
Attaboy. Get the Nashville reference out. Great job tonight, man. Obviously a crazy race. And happy for you, man. And happy to see you in victory lane in that 2 car. Seems to have a good history at winning at Talladega lately, especially with Keselowski behind the wheel. But great job tonight. And go celebrate the win with Scott and with everybody. That was a lot of fun to watch, man. Good job.
Thanks, guys. It was a great race. A lot of great racers out there in Sim500. Appreciate it.
You too, Mike. Great job. And Mike Kelly, of course, going to victory lane, and I'm going to see if I can work some magic here for a minute. But Kevin, great job, obviously, tonight on your end also, but a great race. What anything you could take from this race, man, that outside of just being plain Talladega, that you saw tonight that was just crazy?
Yeah, there were a lot of dreams dashed on that final corner. That's the thing that comes to mind. Guys who worked all season long to try and get themselves to the championship, and it went awry there in turn 4. I'm looking at what looks like the unofficial points and see, the story. I picked Tyler Dalton to win. I'm not sure if it's a broadcaster curse, but he did not make it. 12th in the lineup. 11th, Joey Jattina. We saw him sitting down there on the apron, and just that many positions put him behind the curve. And I just have heartbreak for a couple of these guys. Richard Beasley, Chad Coleman, guys that didn't make the cut that typically were in there. But, now we have a really interesting mix of 10 going into the next race, and wipe the slate clean, and off we go. I don't see that Falkingham can claim victory here. Season is a long one, and you just heard it. Mike Kelly, been racing with Mike Kelly for longer than I want to admit. back in the early days of NAS, North American Simulation Series, I know he was around, and I'm surprised to hear him say that's his first Sim 500 win
On the Cup side.
for the Cup side.
Yeah.
I that's a surprising stat to me.
So here it is.
As
I got it up.
dominant as he's been for decades.
No, absolutely. I got it up on the screen, the top 20, and where they line up. This is official right here on the screen that you're seeing. Thank you, Kevin. Obviously, it allowed me to go get the points and get it all set up there for everybody. But Falkingham, obviously, he was already pretty much moved on. Tommy Ryan, Mike Kelly, Josh Parker, David Comstock, Bentley Glazier, Elliot Henderson, Scott Simley, Brian Macklin, Jimmy Coleman will be the 10 drivers that'll race. And you see Joey Jatina misses by all of 3 points, 3 positions. So basically, that wreck was what did him in. And you know what? Credit to Jimmy Coleman. Credit, well, you know what? Who else is affected by this? Richard Beasley, as he misses by 17 points.
Yeah.
If he wins this race, he's likely in. So
yeah,
I mean,
good on Jimmy Coleman. Remember, he
don't give up.
Down.
Right.
He ran one lap down almost most of the race, got it back right at the end, kept his nose clean and snuck in there and got that final 10th position.
There you go. That's feel bad for obviously, these drivers, Jatina, Dalton, Beasley, Coleman, Gonzalez, Justin Mons, who raced hard, unfortunately got involved in an accident. Kevin DeBrown, same thing. Eric Arnold had rough luck from the start. Trey Edson, he unfortunately won here, I guess, for any of the races. But I was trying to think of something kind of comical there. But, he does a great job.
Best champion there, Trey Edson.
Right, yeah. I mean, obviously he's a great driver and things, but, work and life comes first and that kind of thing. So it is what it is. But, all right.
As I look at those points, I reflect on the 2 drivers, Elliot Henderson there, and also Scott Simley. The guys behind him, -2, -2, -3. I mean, they were right there. That last corner physically changed the construct of the point championship going into the next round.
It sure does. It's a very fair point to mention as I'm actually going through and looking at the races we ran recently and seeing where maybe some of the differences was in the point standings here. And, it's just literally points here and there. I mean, I'm looking at Coleman versus Jatina, and it literally comes down to tonight in that battle. So it's an unfortunate deal, but you know what? We move on, and guess what's coming up next week? The Charlotte Roval. These guys got to road course it a little bit, so that's going to be interesting coming up next week. The Charlotte Roval is these guys literally follow the Cup schedule, so it'll be the Roval next week. Then we'll go to Vegas, Homestead, Martinsville, and then Phoenix, the 5th and final race of the championship. 10 drivers racing for the title after tonight. So it's going to be a lot of fun there. So, Kevin, man, I appreciate you joining us. It was a wild race, as mentioned, and
for sure.
Yeah, good to see Mike in victory lane. Appreciate all the viewers, but Kevin, appreciate you joining us tonight, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Chris. Looking forward to next week's run at the Roval. What a crazy track. Ran it this week and can say we're going to see an incredible show. Some of these guys that are road course aces were going to show up and put on a fantastic race for the Sim500 Dig Series.
Absolutely. It's going to be a lot of fun. Big shout out to the North Carolina 811.org guys, and of course all the 811.orgs all across America for of course supporting the series and allowing us to come out and broadcast each and every week. And again, a big shout out to the Sim Racing channels. They'll be broadcasting this race later on in the week. I'm going to download it as soon as it becomes downloadable. There's a word for you. When it becomes accessible on my YouTube page, we'll get it over to them so that they can put it on. But if you have a Roku, you can go download the Sim Racing channel right now and enjoy all different types of series and racing podcast on there. It's literally its own channel on Roku that you can watch Sim Racing on iRacing. It's a pretty cool deal. Make sure you go get that and be ready because Sim500 will be on there coming up later this week from Talladega. So appreciate those guys for doing all the work they do. Joey and Jimmy and everybody, all the admins. I'm sure they're down there, maybe having a good time, and maybe some angry, but we'll have to see. But either way, it was a great race, and appreciate, of course, Kevin England for helping us this evening on the broadcast. Fans, thank you very much, and always remember, this isn't just a game, it's iRacing. See ya!